Panther people, what up? DK's not a Panther. T's not a Panther. Brandon Ayuk, probably not going to be a Panther. So who's going to be the Panthers' number one wide receiver? I'll let you know. Going on and watching Panthers post, you can tell it is almost springtime here north of the 49th parallel because all I'm rocking is a t-shirt and a toque. That's it. That's it. We kind of go crazy when the sun goes out here in Canada. It's a little bit above 0 degrees Celsius, and people are already out there picnicking out there with a bottle of wine or maybe a 6-pack of beer. But either way, I digress. No need to celebrate right now. Mind you, Dan Morgan, Brant Tillis, Dave Canales have done a very good thing building up the defense. They missed out on Milton Williams and they went to their plan B and they went quantity over quality in terms of the quality of player and also the quality of money, the amount of money. But they've done a good job. They are now kind of, as Dan Morgan said, a little bit more free to be creative, get a little sexy, a little spicy during the draft next month in terms of getting some hopefully starter level material on the defensive side. However, besides retaining our own guys, which is always a good thing, bringing guys like Brady Christensen back, Cade Mays is back as well, Tommy Tremble is back. I've always been high on Tommy Tremble. They also brought in Rico Dowdle, a 1,000-yard rusher. Like he's been less than I think it's been less than 600 yards per year since he's been with the Dallas Cowboys out of University of South Carolina. And then suddenly he was the number one back last year in Dallas. He rushed for 1,000 yards, putting him with Chuba. Not only is it a buddy cop movie title in Chuba and Rico, that is a mean 1-2 punch. I wish it was more than a 1-year deal, that he could be here long term, because I am not completely optimistic about Jonathan Brooks, especially if the Panthers double dip this year in the draft and get another running back in what is supposed to be a talent-laden draft class in terms of the running back position. But if you have a running back room with Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, and let's say Brasham Smith or Raheem Sanders out of South Carolina, I think that is a very good running back room, and that kind of makes Jonathan Brooks the odd man out, and another second-round pick for the Carolina Panthers a waste. But that is a worst-case scenario, but also a silver lining to that. But besides Rico, he is the only new offensive player entering this team right now. So our wide receiver room, which is now league known, is one of the weakest points of this team besides linebacker, really. It's kind of staying the same. You still got Adam Thielen, who is still, he's showing everybody what dad's strength really is. He's in his 13th year in the league. Xavier Legette, who I am still very high on. I don't think anybody should be out on Xavier Legette. And you got the Cokeheads, of course, David Moore. Hopefully they bring him back. And that's it. That's kind of it. That's the wide receiver room. And we all know, I've done videos on this, they missed out on DK Metcalf, who I thought was a very logical signing for the Carolina Panthers. That didn't happen. He is out in Pittsburgh, still twiddling his thumbs, though. No one's throwing him the rock. It could be Aaron Rodgers. It could be Russell Wilson again. So he's taking a gamble there, but he's got that money. We just found out that T. Higgins is making roughly $29 million a year. Probably would have gotten more with the Panthers, but he is sticking with the Cincinnati Bengals. So he and Jamar Chase, a very expensive 1-2 punch for Joe Burrow. I still don't think they go to the Super Bowl. We missed out on him. There are rumors now that Brandon Ayuk could be on the trading block, but I think, as much as it kills me that we don't have any of those number one guys, if you just take a look at who these high-paid wide receivers are and where are they getting paid, it's the team that drafted him, minus DK Metcalf, who, mind you, is on his third contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He already received the big contract with the Seattle Seahawks, who drafted him out of Ole Miss. And then you got T. Higgins, who got drafted out of Clemson with the Bengals. And then, of course, Jamar Chase, who took that year off and then got signed, picked up by the Cincinnati Bengals. So these are all guys that got picked up by their original team. They got paid by their original team. The Panthers had a guy by the name of DJ Moore, who they drafted at the University of Maryland. They paid him and then shipped him off to Chicago. So unfortunately, that was just the sign of the times. The team was in transition. They were trying to get that thing that, multiple teams still don't have, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, is the number one quarterback. So they now have their guy. They got Bryce Young. So now the next move is just eyes on the draft. Eyes on the draft to the wide receiver class this year and find that T. Higgins, find that Puka Nakua, and then develop them and then pay them, and they develop with Bryce Young. And you just don't let them go. Because the reason why they let DJ go is because they were looking for Bryce. Well, guess what? They got Bryce. So now you find your DJ Moore. And I think there is a DJ Moore clone in this draft. I also think there's some upside dudes out there who might not even be in the first round. I'm not saying there could be a Puka Nakua type who had just kind of exceeded expectations on multiple fronts, but there are guys there in the draft as we focus our attention to the draft now, because it doesn't look like they're getting any free agents. They're not trading for any wide receivers right now. They might get like an Amari Cooper who could be a contributor. I don't think he'll be an automatic number one wide receiver. I think XL will still be the number one guy like 2 years down the line. Amari Cooper, not a long-term signing. Who else is out there? You got, well, who else you got? Oh, yeah. I just realized I was on X yesterday. I did not have Robbie Anderson on my bingo card for potential wide receivers for the Carolina Panthers, guys who take the top off of defense. But apparently, he was part of the timeline. Panthers Twitter has been a crazy place the last couple of weeks, but he did an exclusive interview with Sheena Quick with Carolina Blitz, and he had glowing things to say about what the Panthers are doing. He name dropped Dan Morgan. He name dropped Dave Canales. He also went on Twitter, like responding to our guy Bland, who I guess is like the player whisperer. Like anytime this guy tweets, people respond, whether it's Garrett Wilson, who's not even on the Panthers, XL, talking about horses and, confirming video quality and who's actually in videos. And now you got Chosen Anderson replying to some of Bland's tweets, saying that he could play quarterback, he could play DB, he could play wide receiver, of course, he could play returner. And so, Robbie Anderson on the vet min, making like $300,000 a year, bring him on. I mean, why not? Like, as long as he's a good locker room guy, I'll take it. You like Panthers Post? I freaking love Panthers Post. I love it so much. I love it more than I love Sunshine. And I'll tell you what, if you really like it and you like getting early access to videos, you like getting exclusive videos, you like getting exclusive live chats, and you like getting free merch that's coming, and you want to be a part of creating the merch, then you want to be part of Panthers Post membership. It is $2.99 Canadian, which is like $1.39 American. Our dollar is the worst right now. It is less than a cup of coffee. And with that, again, you get early access to videos like this one. You get exclusive videos. You get live chats with me. I'm going to be having a chat with a former NFL scout this week. I'm talking to him this week. And you will get early access to that. You get exclusive videos. It's going to be a long chat. I'm going to split it up, take you behind the curtain a little bit, and then members get exclusive information from this former NFL scout. You just got to be a member. Again, $1.39 American a month gets you that. And also, I'm inching towards 7,000 subs. Inching. So as I do that, I want to celebrate. I want to make some merch. I want to give you the merch. Well, I got to sell you the merch. But if you're a member, you get the merch for free. So imagine a shirt that's $1.39 American. Are you kidding me? So that's less than $15 American a year. Gets you a shirt, a free shirt. And you're also helping construct it visually. I want to send it out there before the season starts in September. Try to get to it. Two things. Try to get to 1,000 subs. Get memberships. Send the t-shirts out. Everyone else, you got to buy them. But they'll be worth it. I promise. But again, if you want to join the membership, go on your desktop. It says subscribe here. It says join there. Click that join. And then you're in the club room, guy. I'll take it. I don't think it'll be a wide receiver one. But yeah, that was just a side note. Did not expect our search for a wide receiver would include Robbie Anderson coming back. The only wide receiver I would truly roll out the red carpet for to bring back as a wide receiver one, that's DJ Moore. And we all saw him playing with Caleb Williams last year, and he did not look happy. He looked like he was ready to go back down to Charlotte, go to Sycamore Brewery, go to Wooden Robot, something like that. He misses the warmer temperatures of the South, I will say, as I do as well, as I'm stuck here in the frozen tundra. But as we focus our attention to the draft, again, not getting any free agents, probably not trading for anybody. I think the Panthers are a trade down candidate. I don't think they're sold on Ted McMillan. I'm not sold on Ted McMillan. One person gave me a little bit of grief on that. I've watched the tape. He is aggressive after the catch, but he's not getting separation. You can't always rely on 50-50 balls. And I don't see it. I'm not seeing that. And maybe with the 19th pick, maybe with the 20th pick, if you trade down, Ted's still there. I'd be happy with Ted at 8. But if they're sticking and picking at 8, I would be okay getting a defensive talent, whether it's a Jalen Walker, whether it's a Michael Williams, whether it's a Shamar Stewart. I'm okay with that. But I think the Panthers are a team that has many holes, as we mentioned, on wide receiver, in the wide receiver spot, in the tight end spot, linebacker, all that. So I'd be open to the Panthers trading down and then getting a guy who I think could be a DJ Moore clone, but could run a sub 4.340, and that's Matthew Golden at the University of Texas. Now, he's not a physical freak. He's like 5'11", 191, but he came out in the college football playoff. He showed that he is the guy on the University of Texas, which is one of the hottest teams right now in collegiate football. And I just see a dog in him. I see a guy who can get open. He is versatile. He can run all over the field. And when he gets the ball, watch out, kind of like a DJ Moore, he becomes a running back with the ball in his hands. Now, you could say that Luther Burden, the third out of Missouri, is kind of the same, but last year, he just didn't have the production. He did not have the production. So it's all about what have you done for me lately? Matthew Golden is the guy. We miss DJ Moore so much. How about I get you a younger, faster DJ Moore, bring him onto the team, and he also performs on the biggest stage. That's my only crack against Tet McMillan. His highlights, half his highlight tape, like, I'm not an Arizona Wildcats fan, so I'm not watching all these games, but half the highlights in his game are against New Mexico. If you go on YouTube and you watch his highlights, literally half the video is what he did to New Mexico State or whatever. It's not impressing me. I want to see you do stuff against Georgia. I want to see you do stuff against Notre Dame, Ohio State. That's what Matthew Golden did. And I would bring that guy on the team if I were to trade down maybe to 12. Maybe you swap with the Seahawks, you go down to 18. If Golden's still there, I take him. And then maybe you pick up an extra second-round pick. And then with that, in a defensive line heavy draft in terms of talent, it's deep. Then you get your Princely, maybe get a James Pierce Jr. if you can, work out the off-the-field stuff. Those guys, I think, then you get in the second round. And there's a couple other wide receivers. If you get an earlier second-round pick with that 57th overall pick, maybe you double dip at wide receiver. Make it a crowded room. Make it a competition. And this day and age, in year 2025, names with J seem to be big. They seem to be very popular. You got the hardest quarterback in the league right now that's not named Bryce Young, Jaden Daniels. You got Jalen Coker. So you got Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State, who is that big body receiver, 6'4", 220. Compared to Tet, I feel like he is a more angry, aggressive route runner. He just, for a guy who's 6'4", 220, he moves like he's 5'11", 195. I like that. I like the way he moves. Where I was saying before, Tet, he kind of still plays like a tall guy when it comes to before the catch in terms of getting open, getting some separation there. I think that Higgins at Iowa State can achieve that. And I think separation is what it's all about, especially with Bryce Young, who's all about a timing guy. He throws with capital A anticipation. A guy like Higgins who can give himself space and then get space quickly with the way he runs routes. Then you can get a Bryce Young throwing in like a no-look pass and then turn to the camera, throwing the touchdown sign again because he knows this guy will get open. With Tet, again, it's a 50-50 ball. You're not too sure. And so I think he's good. Also, Jalen Royals out of Utah State. So he's a bit shorter. He's like 6 foot, 200 plus. Again, aggressive route runner, a contested in the air. Again, aggressive, electric. I like that as well. Mind you, kind of like Tet. And both these guys, the level of competition is not as high as a Matthew Golden, who, again, that would be my wide receiver one if we were to trade down. But the other guys, I like this Jaden Higgins dude because he offers upside in terms of his physicality, his physical stature. He offers something that is not on the roster right now. A guy who's that big, that tall, that fast. Both these guys in Higgins and Royals running sub 4.4 40s. Bigger dudes, bigger than Matthew Golden. And I think they just offer a little bit of a different dynamic to the wide receiver room. So those are guys that I'm into. And I also see in these mock drafts, if anyone's a Syracuse fan, or I think he's Syracuse, Pat Bryant. I always get Pat Bryant on my mock draft simulator. He always shows up in like the 5th or 6th round. So if you're a Syracuse Orange fan and you watch this dude, let me know. Is he actually good? He seems like he's got a pretty big body. He's like 6'2", 6'3", plus 212. He's someone who always pops up. And I don't watch much about him, but I read the synopsis. He looks like a pretty good wide receiver. But again, anyone who's actually a fan of the Syracuse Orange, let me know. But again, to recap, missed out on the big targets. But if you take a look at the trend, the guys who signed the big paydays, they do it with the team that drafted them. So I don't think the wide receiver room is going to be as is in September. I think they're going to add a role player, like a veteran out there, whether it's a Robbie Anderson, whether it is a Amari Cooper. I think they add one of those again, maybe it's just David Moore. Maybe David Moore is just the veteran that they add. And then they draft. Maybe they double dip. I hope in the best case scenario, trade down. You get yourself a Matthew Golden. In a lot of analyst books, that's the number one wide receiver in this draft. And then maybe you double dip wide receiver in the first, in the second, and then you get your defensive edge to try to build that up. And there's a deep, deep draft when it comes to. There's a couple guys in this draft in the second round that you can get on the edge. Something that's kind of been missing right now in terms of this free agent class for the Panthers on the defensive side. So yeah, That's what I feel. Let me know how you think about this wide receiver room. Are you happy with it as is? Would you be comfortable with the wide receiver room looking like this heading into September? If not, I know it's not. Let me know who you would add. Let me know. Like, subscribe, spread the word. See you soon.